The MW2 beta is here, and I just creamed all over my keyboard. MW2 is the most anticipated game of the year, so naturally it made sense for the developers to release a beta version only a month before the launch of the full game to gather feedback from the player base on what needs updates and changes. By the way, when I say beta, I mean this is basically the final product, if not the final product, as it's much too late for anything major to get patched or fixed other than where weapons are leveled up. How do I know this? Well, they've been doing this with every Call of Duty since Black Ops 3, meaning
I know more than you. Alright.
If you want my advice, don't buy MW2. I went into the beta pretty high, no offense to Josh Gordon, on MW2. Regardless of videos I posted in the past, I started to grow quite hard for this game, mainly due to promotional trailers and the next event leading up to it. But so far, the beta has been just very underwhelming, borderline disappointing even. Reasons being because of pretty much the usual issues: bad maps, horrible spawns, bad weapon balance, the doors are back, camping, disbanding lobbies, and no map voting, with newer issues being Gunsmith 2.0, the new perk system, and progression being just some of the most notable issues that I've noticed so far. But I want to break everything down the best I can while I finally provide some sort of real advice as to where I think MW2 stands and what you should end up doing. Also, before I do, if you're someone who hates criticism or the fact that some random guy on the internet is offering feedback to a video game developer that is probably worth millions, if not billions, then fuck you. Arguments against criticism such as get good or don't buy it are just some of the dumbest fucking responses one could ever give to criticism. Get good? Make a game that doesn't force players to sweat their balls off every single time so they can just brag about how good they are at a video game. Oh wow, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were a level 55 max rank with all max camos and attachments in Call of Duty. So cool. Add that to your Hinge profile, loser. Don't buy it? While yes, the title of this video will direct you to believe that you shouldn't buy this game, but at the end of the day, I'm here to advise you. It's your money or your parents' money. What do I care? Also, for all its flaws, how many games can you say at least last a full year regardless of how much shit's in the game? Like, realistically. The answer is very, very few. So again, thank you and fuck you. Buy whatever game you want. Let's begin with the pros. Pro. Graphics. The graphics in MW2 are incredible. The attention to detail and level of detail is remarkable and feels like a massive upgrade to Modern Warfare and Vanguard. I'd probably say Cold War, but like, it's really not that hard, right? Pro. Smoothness. MW2 is probably the smoothest running Call of Duty game at the moment. For once, it doesn't feel like a Call of Duty game has a ton of latency at launch. I get this is a beta, but still, I'm surprised as Call of Duty has had a massive history of awful latency issues in its game during betas and the launch. Pro, no more slide canceling, allegedly. Suck it, nerds, because slide canceling is gone, baby. Oh, what, are you gonna cry? Easily the worst mechanic to ever happen to a Call of Duty game is now gone. What has seemingly ended up being just, I guess, replaced with bunny hopping, though. Either way, I see progress, and I might as well just reward it as a pro, even though being a douche is still a massive problem in the game. Pro, embarrassing Nadia. If you didn't watch Call of Duty Next, well, it was great. Watching streamers and creators play a game a day early really got my jeans tight. What was even better was watching respected Warzone woman Nadia showcase her skills in MW2. You know Nadia.
This clip right here proves why I am the best female Warzone.
If you have any doubts she was cheating, well, here you go. Not sure about any of you, but this is pretty much a case closed cheater, right? Pro, the trash talk is back. While I don't have any video, the in-game lobbies and the end of matches brought me back to the old MW2 days where players would just cyberbully each other. I'm not crying, I'm just happy the internet has been fully unleashed again. Pro, FOV slider. Yes, it's finally here. No, I don't care, but it's here. So congrats, we did it, or you did it. I never really cared. Now for the cons. There's a lot, by the way. Con, bad maps. The maps shown in the beta are laughably bad. If you hated the map design in Modern Warfare 2019, you're going to despise the map design in this game, as nothing seemed to have been improved at all, with some cases it actually getting worse, with too many flanking routes, safe spaces and out of view areas like scaffolding, second floors, etc. It just doesn't seem like anything improved. And I mean, the maps they've shown, which I will talk about happily, just are awful. I mean, Farm 18 blows. It's an extremely vertical map with tons of hidey holes and safe spaces. The middle of the map can be very jarring to a player due to how tight quarters the center of the map is, with there being an apartment building, kill house, and training area being essentially a nightmare to get caught up in. Greenberg Hotel is the same as Farm 18, I just feel a bit fancier when I play it since it's not some shitty farm or training course. Mercado Las Almas, I don't know if I even said that right, has a ton of flanking routes that if you enjoy getting shot in the back a million times, then you're gonna love this map. Will say it's not the worst map for SMG play, but other than that, it's an absolute nightmare to navigate. Valderas Museum is the best of the 4 playable maps at the time of this recording. I've played it literally once because for some reason the game only allows players to play Farm 18, but it was enjoyable. Even though it featured some verticality, it was nowhere near as bad as the others. My only main gripe is that it's too big, that's what she said, for 6v6 games. When I mention verticality, I'm not talking about Kyler Murray, but I'm talking about your peripherals. A lot of these things seem to be out of your area of view due to things being higher up, and you're not really getting a good field of view. Yes, you could fix that by adjusting your FOV, but I don't know if many people want their FOV being set to 100. Con, doors. If you hated the doors in every Call of Duty since Modern Warfare, well, buckle up, buckaroo, because they're back. I'm unsure why the developers continue to not listen to the community when they're constantly telling them how awful this mechanic is. It allows the opposing players to hear you coming when you blast through a door like the Kool-Aid Man and offer safe spaces for opposing players. Will they ever learn? Doubt it. Personally, even before MW2 was talked about, I knew inside this was going to be the mechanic that stayed forever. But just let me say the very thing we all have been trying to say at least one more time. Get this fucking mechanic out of the multiplayer. It is awful. If you want it in Warzone, that's fine, but it doesn't work in the multiplayer. And we have known this for quite some time. We have been providing this feedback to you for quite some time. Fuck your realism, it doesn't work. Thanks. Sorry I yelled. I promise I won't do it ever again. Con, Last Stand is back.
You serious?
It doesn't appear players can fire weapons like they used to be able to, but I see zero point in this being here. When a player dies in multiplayer, they just need to die, plain and simple. The perk is called Survivor, which is not to be confused with the massively popular reality TV show that isn't scripted, Bobby, John, Mark, Isaac, Suhas. Players, when they go down, can revive themselves once per life, while teammates can revive them faster. Being honest, if I see you use this, I'll abandon you. No, that's not enough. I'll shoot the ground you lay on to attract the attention of everyone in the lobby. Why? Because you're a loser. You deserve to have everyone in the lobby jump on you. Why would you ever use a perk like this? It's so useless. It's the last perk in the tier. It makes no sense. Anyway, Con, the horrible spawns. I've never figured out how the spawn system has been so bad in Call of Duty games for so long. It's become super erratic with respawning players all over the map, usually near the exact same spot you died. Why? Who knows? Maybe it's something to do with the map design, though I'm not a mapologist, but the spawns in this game seem to be worse than they ever have been. Con, inconsistent time to kill seems to be very noticeable. In some instances, you get 3 tapped by the same weapon you are using, yet if you try it, big middle finger to you. Yet in some instances, you can 3-tap players to have someone round the corner take an entire clip with you being the one to die. Sorry, I mean unalive. Not sure why, but this might be the worst I have ever seen in a Call of Duty game. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Maybe I just suck. Who knows? Con, the recoil is insane. Imagine you're shooting one of these guns and that a horse is kicking your shoulder at like about 1200 kicks per second. Even equipping attachments that are meant to help the recoil, some reason you still have trouble getting an accurate shot. And you can see it in kill cams. I'm not the only one that's having this issue, so please fix. Con, the camping in MW2 will be a massive problem. At least based off the maps that are in the beta, it appears that there are more safe spaces for opposing players to lurk in. You refer to them as assholes. I refer to them as Dark Corner McDougals. No need to beat a dead horse on the maps and the doors, but if you felt Modern Warfare 2019 had a camping problem, wait till this comes out. It's going to be a lot worse, trust me. Con, the new perk system. The traditional perk system has been replaced with a new one, similar to how like the Specialist Strike package worked in MW3. Basically, you have 2 perks at the start of a game, with 2 more being unlocked through various stages of the game just based off time limit. The more kills you get, objectives played, etc., the lower the time it will be in between earning the next perk. Some may think this is great, I just think this is stupid. If it's not broke, then don't fix it. This could have been something as like a secondary option for players, but it wasn't. But by the point that you get your last perk, the game is pretty much over and you never really unlock your 4th perk, which depending on what you use could be kind of important to you. If I were to tweak something, it would make it like 3 perks to start with and 2 to 3 perks maybe to be unlocked as the game goes on, or allow an option of any perk from any tier to be unlocked in the final stage. That way you have your 1, 2, and 3 perks. Either way, this is just a really dumb system that I don't think was ever really needed to be added to the game. Con, progression. The progression in this game seems to be a mess. Not just like the ranking system, because that's just a side thing, but how weapon attachments are unlocked per gun. If I'm wrong, then feel free to correct me, because it makes no fucking sense based off what the videos they've talked about and stuff like that. So let's just say you have an M4. If there's another M4 type, whether that be like the M16, that SMG that I can't remember the name of, or the DMR I can't remember the name of, if you unlock all the attachments for the M4, it apparently unlocks those attachments for the M16, SMG, and DMR types. Why? Because it's apparently to help remove the grind of unlocking attachments for weapons. So if that's the case, what's the point of having all these guns? Why hold the hand of the player? The decision to change the weapon progression literally makes 0 sense. It's to make the game easier. I don't get it. You're essentially taking out the entire point of all these guns existing and the point of why people play the game at all. You're taking away the exact reason why people play your multiplayer, which is to progress weapons, to get camos, and to rank up. It makes no sense. I don't why. Con, Gunsmith 2.0 is extremely confusing. Being honest, I've never been a fan of Gunsmith. I think it causes too many variables in the game, while also being an absolute nightmare for the developers to patch anything effectively. Gunsmith 2.0, I doubt will be anything different, and it seems to be no different. First off, the UI is fucking awful, nothing about it feels smooth in any way, and the amount of attachments feels daunting. Factor that in with the different types of receivers, it just makes it super confusing to understand what's what. Plus, I don't think the stats fully line up with the actual attachments. A lot of them don't feel like they do the things they're really supposed to be doing. So, I think Gunsmith is an absolute failure, at least 2.0. I feel like the original was actually somewhat better in a lot of aspects because it felt a lot more simpler. And again, this feels way too confusing to a player. Con, MW2's movement is some of the hottest ass, and I don't mean Captain America's ass. It's just garbage. I mean, it sucks. Moving around maps feels super clunky, and the animation of players running is just laughable to say the least. Con, map voting still doesn't exist. After years of the player base begging for it to come back, you would think they would finally put it back in their biggest game possible. But again, the developers ignored that request to put in unneeded and unwanted changes. I would love to know the reason why they did take it out in the first place, but no matter what it is, it's the dumbest reason. It never needed to be taken out of the game. Con, disbanding lobbies are still a thing, so enjoy trash talking someone for just a game to then have the game end and you probably never see them again. Or to not be able to play with that trashed lobby you found that allows you to drop 40 plus kills a game. A couple quick things I noticed that are probably beta-centric things, so that's why I never really list them as cons, but they annoyed me enough to at least talk about. I noticed the rank progression was a little off, where it seemed to like cap you off at level 15 with other players when you went into lobbies, somehow being at level 16. I heard a couple players talk about it in my lobby, and I'm actually kind of glad I wasn't the only one that had this issue, but I realized it once I started seeing weapons I hadn't unlocked on the ground. I also noticed that some weapons showed as locked for some reason, but other players at rank 15 and 16 had them, which was kind of confusing, those weapons being the Vector MP5 and the 5.56. And there was no pre-made classes that existed in the default that had these weapons, so I don't know exactly what was going on. I also noticed a couple out of the map glitches, so screw these guys, report them, and ban them. Hopefully these areas get patched for the final product, but if they don't, well, the review is going to be so much fun. I also don't understand why they locked customization on the AK or capped off progression on most weapons. Like, don't you want us to understand the balancing of your game and to provide some sort of feedback if it doesn't work? Like, no, that's fine, I guess. So should you buy MW2? I'd advise against it. To be honest, if I didn't pre-order it off the PlayStation Store, I probably would have unpre-ordered it just after playing a day of the beta. As mentioned, regardless of my previous videos, I was very excited for MW2. Why? Because the 2009 MW2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And to all of its flaws, MW 2019 was just a few good development choices from being a perfect Call of Duty game. But instead of improving on that, what could have been really a great game. It seems they just backstepped off a cliff with design choices that literally make no sense. And I'll be honest, yes, I'm pessimistic, but at the end of the day, I would rather see the franchise that I've dumped so much money and time into thrive rather than become this. Could the game get better for the final release? I doubt it. It feels like the game was developed by 2 different studios and put into one. Granted, we haven't played the campaign yet, but realistically, everyone's playing the multiplayer. It feels like if they want things to improve in this game, if they're going to need things to improve in this game to actually be, a good game, they're going to have to strip the game down to its core and rebuild it. I don't think fundamentally things work or communicate or complement one another very well. Again, it feels like 2 different studios made this game, and it very much shows in some of the development choices. And I'm actually a little disappointed because I don't know what they were really doing along the way. Again, I advise you don't buy this game. If you hated the multiplayer in Modern Warfare 2019, you're going to hate this. Trust me, you will not like this game. I truly doubt that things get better outside of the campaign, which I anticipate the campaign being amazing. But if you're going to buy this game for just the campaign, why? So that's it. Those are my thoughts from just playing a bit of the beta. If more gets added to the beta, who cares? If it doesn't, who cares? I want to know what you think. Was there stuff that I missed that was good or bad? What do you think of the MW2 beta? Will it be better than the final product? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and maybe subscribe. That way MILF Hunter Wilson doesn't try to bang your mom. Thanks for watching. Eat Arby's if you're mad, and well, bye.